Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Last time, doing a Strokes project, and that's a little depressing. But there is more stuff coming down the line, like I've been saying. We're doing the Voids next, alright? So, save those tears, alright? We got Future, Present, Past EP. I have been extremely curious to get up to this point, because this is the most recent thing other than The New Abnormal. The New Abnormal is one of their most unique records, I guess I'd say. I think that they took so much time away because they just really didn't have like an artistic statement they wanted to put out there in the world. And on the last LP that I listened to, which was Come Down Machine, I felt like maybe one of the bigger problems with it was that they didn't feel ambitious to write a lot of music and just wanted to fulfill their record deal with RCA. It's kind of evident with the big RCA on the cover. This was their first work in several years. They had came back to drop these 3 songs, as well as a remix of Oblivious, apparently. I thought that there were more on here, actually, but it's still 19 minutes, so these are pretty sizable songs. So I guess we're gonna see what this has to offer. Let's go. Track number 1, Drag Queen. Very interesting sound. Somewhat light mix. This is sounding so strange. I'm really confused at this sound right now. Okay, so if I wasn't reading along with the lyrics right now, I would have absolutely no idea what is being said here. I'm just putting that out there. That's not incredibly ear-pleasing. There's just not a lot to latch onto on this. I really like the cleaner parts of the instrumental, especially during this chorus. This should sound great, but the vocals are mostly killing it for me. Oh, what the fuck? Yeah, I didn't find much appealing to the ears on that one. See, the lyricism on that track was actually really well made. I liked a lot of what was going on there. It was a somewhat politically charged track, which does pop up from time to time again on a Strokes song. It's always interesting when they do that because it really does seem like they have something to say though, and I suppose this is one of the most recent politically charged tracks that they've put out, so, you know, it felt somewhat relevant. If y'all remember what my problem was with Come Down Machine a lot of times was the vocal mixing, just kind of making everything sound not quite right and a bit pretentious. Well, yeah, that is a even more blatant example of that than anything on Come Down Machine. In fact, I'd say the vocal processing on that track made it completely unlikable. There were certain instruments in the mix that sounded really clear and ones that sounded really like subdued and highly processed like the vocals did, and I think that they were going for a thing where they clash to sound interesting, but it just clashes and sounds really hard on the ears, honestly. I can't understand what the artistic point behind doing that was, and I think that if it was all mixed like they were trying to make it sound good, then that would have been an awesome song. I think I would have liked that a lot because it had progression, it had good lyrics. I can't really tell you how the vocal performance was, but it seemed like most of the performances were pretty good. It's just, once that track was mixed and put together, nothing really sounded good anymore. So Oblivious, I think, is usually people's favorite from this record. That's the next track. I'm hoping that we get 3 very different ones, because if any are like the first one, I don't think I'm really going to be a fan of this, unfortunately. Okay, this sounds better already. Get some Angles vibes. It's not as bad, but like, can I hear Julian on this project at some point? Like, I can deal with it here. This is much more decent. This chorus does sound pretty good. And I do like these riffs following it. It pains me to think about how great this could be, because this could be so fucking good right now. Okay, I'm definitely fine with this guitar solo. It's a little weirdly off tune, but whatever. This part sounds pretty cool. Very climactic, and it's kind of a shame because I feel like this could be sounding so much better than it is right now. Okay, so it's a little bit of a return to form. It definitely had that trademark Strokes melancholic angst kind of energy. I did like some of the lyrics that were featured on there, but once again, it would have been very hard to hear them if I was not reading along. I don't understand what's with this vocal mixing style. I'm so glad they ditched this for the new abnormal, because I probably would not have gotten anywhere near as much enjoyment out of that project if they kept doing things the way that they're doing it here. I can see where a lot of people are coming from with liking that song, but I think just hearing like pretty much everything else the Strokes has to offer at this point, I just don't know why I would come back to that over really any of the other very climactic moments. It's like they're trying to make this sound pre-Is This It? Like, it's got that same kind of structure, but it's mixed worse. And it isn't in a charming way where it almost feels like it's, you know, trying to play up like a garage vibe where they're trying to make it seem like it's just a really amateur people. Because it doesn't really pull that off, even because there's certain elements that are mixed so well in comparison to certain things that are just muffled and gargled and just really out of place. And some of the playing on here I've also noticed is just kind of like, it seems out of key, and it's not really in a great way either, where I feel like sometimes there can be some kind of ambition behind doing things like that, playing a little bit out of tune, just so that it sounds a little bit more raw, but this doesn't sound raw, it sounds like it should sound better. That's all I'm really getting from this so far. The cool thing is, I'm hoping maybe the remix for this is going to sound a little bit better. That would be cool. Threat of Joy is the name of the next song. It's an interesting way to start. Once again, these riffs are kind of angled. Odd. Okay, this is much more tolerable so far. Okay, so this is very heavy on the mood. He's kind of demonstrating the stretched out singing thing that they've done in the past. These lyrics are really weird. I don't know quite what's going on here. It's actually got a really nice steady rhythm though to it. Stripping it back a little. Got some like acoustics in the mix, that's kind of nice. Yeah, this section sounds pretty actually. Okay, definitely nicest track on the EP. Outside of maybe this remix, we'll have to see. By far, appreciated that one the most. Oblivious I liked better in structure, but in execution, it just had too many mixing problems, whereas this one, I realize that it's not authentic, and I realize that it's trying way too hard at its aesthetic, but it does remind me of the first two earlier albums by the Strokes a lot. It does give me similar vibes, similar feeling on that track. It's not a particularly standout one when you put it up next to a lot of the solid gold they were putting out at that time, but you kind of have to look at it in that line for it not to seem weird for it to be coming out today, because once again, this very lo-fi mix just kind of kills the mood a little bit. It had a lot more emotional impact than the other two, I will say that much as well. Yeah, out of the three, that's the only one that I guess I'm just kind of feeling decent on. Like, it's just a right in the middle kind of feeling, whereas the other two I honestly dislike. Okay, I am gonna check out the Oblivious remix now. That's interesting. Did this get worse? I think it did. chorus section might be a little better. Also subdued. It's like you're hearing this the way that you would look at a foggy mirror. The whole picture's there, it's just none of it's clear enough. It's like the entire song is just behind this, like, quiet fade. I guess hazy is the way that I would describe it. Good, the guitar solo is still decent. Yeah, that wasn't any better. I'm sorry, this isn't clearing anything up for me. I hope you guys know where I'm coming from with this, and I hope that I just don't sound like I'm completely talking out of my ass. I don't really get the appeal here. I've heard very polarizing things on this before. The general consensus of people seem to like it though, and I guess that's where I'm lost because I don't understand what the appeal is right now. It's just from a very close listening standpoint, it's very irritating to me to not have the vocals at least somewhat front and center and to have this kind of haze, as I began to describe it before, over the entire instrumental where everything's there and it sounds like it could be sounding really good. It's just kind of like blockaded in a very like subdued way where it just doesn't sound appealing anymore. And I really wish that I would have gotten a lot more enjoyment out of this. I guess I'm glad at least that I liked the first track the least and the third track the most. The third track is one that I definitely wouldn't mind throwing on again. In fact, I might actually return to, but everything else on here I just wasn't really a big enough fan of the aesthetic of to want to return to it at any point. Yeah, so I'm sorry I didn't like this one, guys. Once again, I was kind of saying this at the end of my first impressions of Earth review. I hope people aren't going to hate me for not liking this one as much because I just really didn't care for it. I have liked pretty much everything that I've heard from the Voids, and that is what we're going to be reacting to next. Next week, you can expect me to react to the Voids for the first time, so do stay tuned for that. But otherwise, drop a like on the video if you did like what you saw today, and subscribe for more music-related content coming your way, as well as other Strokes and Voids stuff, as I already mentioned. And leave a comment down below letting me know what you thought of this album. That would also be greatly appreciated. But thank you all very much for watching, and that is just about going to wrap it up for this one. I will see you in the next video.